Parent-children communication is a complicated process that involves words, behavior, nonverbal cues, and emotional signals. The development of a child depends upon a healthy communication between a parent and a child. However, considering the advent of technology and fast-paced life, the communication gap is increasing widely. If parents keep on nagging or scolding children all the time and do not show any interest in them, children lose interest in talking to them. Parents work overtime and come home exhausted, and eventually they get too busy to spend time with their children. I welcome everyone to this very special episode of The Platform. On this special episode, we'll be talking about communication between parents and children. In our discussions, I hope to touch on the major communication barriers between parents and the children. My name is Teniola Oduntan, and with me in the studio today is Mrs. Temitope Oyekunle, a happily married mother of 2 boys, a public servant, as well as a lover of children. Good afternoon, Ma. How are you today?
I'm good, Tenny. Good afternoon, Tenny. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I would like to thank STO Global Concept for inviting me to this episode of the platform. I've watched all episodes of the platform from inception. I've always had 1 or 2 things to learn from the episodes. So I hope we all have fun today and take something away from this program.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Ma, like many other parents, I assume that you've been working from home. So how has it been coping with work and the children?
Yeah, working from home. How do I say? When we started, it was kind of too hectic because it's something that we were not used to.
Yeah.
Working from home and at the same time having to be a teacher to the children, going over their work and everything. So it was kind of a little too much. But out of every situation, we get the good and the bad part. So I tend to focus on the good part. I realize that it's a time for us as parents to spend quality time with our children, go through their work, know where they are at. It's not just the teacher saying, oh, it's this, it's that. You know where your child is at, and also spend quality time. So I took this period as a gift, to spend more time with the children, and it's going on fine.
So I would just like to take this very quick moment to ask parents to invite their children to come and watch with them, because I'm sure that they are going to have their own opinion on today's topic. I would also like to ask everyone to subscribe and turn on your post notification so you are notified every time we go live. Comment down below any questions, thoughts, and comments that you may have as the program goes on, and we will definitely get to it. Whilst researching for today's program, I found that communication is the act of transferring information from one person, place, or group to another. Ma, from my understanding, the major means of communication include texting, email, social media. In your opinion, what are the other effective means of communication? And what would you recommend as an effective means of communication between parents and children?
Okay, Penny. Like you said, communication involves sending information from one person to another person. And if a communication is going to be effective, that means the other person is supposed to understand perfectly what the sender is trying to say. So for me, the most effective means of communication between parents and children will be face-to-face communication. And why do I say that? When I'm talking to you, you can see my facial expressions. Know if I'm happy, I have a smile or a scroll on my face. You can also see my body language, whatever, something like that. You'll be able to say, oh, this person is pleased with it or not. So I think face-to-face communication is the most effective means of communicating. And even when you are having a face-to-face communication, you can give a hug, you can give a peck or anything, give a pat at the back. It also sends a message to the receiver. Communication is not supposed to be only verbal. We also have non-verbal cues that you pass a message to the recipient. Except you absolutely can't see your child face to face. Say your child is schooling in another part of the country, you know, it's even that way we can do a video call, maybe to see your child's mood. Oh, this child is not in a good mood or not. So yeah, face to face communication is important. You are able to give, if you ask your child how was school today, and your child through text and the guy says fine, you may not be able to know how school really was. But when you ask your child how was school today and the child said fine, then you know that it's not really fine, and then you sit down and have a discussion. What happened? Why is it not fine? So yeah, Tenny, I would say face-to-face communication is the best means of communicating between parents and children.
It's actually very funny because we have family members in Nigeria all over the world, and it's not like we can fly down to just have a quick conversation with them, then come back. So in that case, I would say maybe video call, so you can like see their facial expressions and whatnot. And if they can't do video call, you can call them, you can hear the tone of their voice change, if it goes up, if it goes down. So that's that. Technology has advanced a lot, and nowadays children are more technology savvy than their parents, who mostly don't have time to understand and cope with the ever-evolving digital world. As a result, they fail to keep themselves updated with the current trends in the teenage world. How do you think this gap can be reduced in order to have effective communication between parents and children?
Well, technology, I would say that's a generational gap. You know, what our children know, we don't know up to quarter of them. Children do most things online. Even right now, because of the COVID-19 situation, they are constantly online doing their lessons. They know how to navigate. Even a 1-year-old child knows how to, you know, go through the computer or the laptop. We as parents, even though we may be interested in learning these things, some of us work long hours, we are not at home, maybe some of us don't even work with the system at work, so we may not have that time to go through to learn it. But I will implore parents, it's very important for us to at least learn some things about this technology. If our children are constantly online, then we not want to know more about, you know, the technology. And why do we want to know more about that? Is so that we can guide them. Technology has so many advantages, and we want our children to tap into those advantages. At the same time, so many disadvantages. We don't want our children watching stuff and having stuff pop up on them. So we need to learn age-appropriate search engines. For younger children, there are some search engines that are safe for them to use. As parents, we should be able to learn those ones, so that even if we are giving our phone or our iPad to a young child, we know that that child is not going to be seeing anything that it shouldn't be seeing. And even for the older ones, then at that time we need to sit down with them and lecture them on the dangers of technology. As good as it is, it has so many bad parts. You know, they should know about identity theft, know how to protect their identity online, know about sites that they shouldn't visit, and stuff like that. Our younger children, they play some games. There's this particular game, is it Roblox? I didn't know that they could chat while playing that game, and my son was playing the game and chatting, and I looked, I said, come, who are you chatting with? Funny enough, he was not chatting with someone that he knew. He said he's just chatting. I said, what are you chatting about? Oh, we're just chatting, asking how we can navigate on the game. I had to sit down with my sons and tell them, see, anybody could be behind a computer screen. You may not be chatting with someone that is your age. You may be chatting with an adult or something, and it's anything bad could happen. So there are stuff like that. Your parents can disable chats options, or make sure they're only chatting with their friends. So yeah, technology, as parents, even in our busy schedule, we need to take time out to learn more about this technology, so that our children can use it to their advantage, and all the disadvantages of this technology our children know, so that they don't go astray.
That's very true, because there have been a lot of cases of children that have fallen into traps where they're communicating with someone that they don't know online, and the person says they're 12, and then when they actually go to meet up, the person is like 50 something, and they're really, really old, and children get kidnapped, and it's very
many bad things happening.
It's terrible. So it's very good when parents can communicate that type of thing with their children and tell them, okay, this is why, and explain. Because as a teenager, when my parents tell me don't do something, I'm like, why? Or else I will explore, and it's usually not the best thing, but I will explore. And so it's just really good when parents are able to communicate and tell you, okay, don't do this, because, so you know, okay, this is what's going to happen. So culture. culture. It's a very, very big topic all around the world. It's the total way of life of groups of people. It includes everything that a group of people think, say, do, and it even makes their systems, attitudes, and feelings.
Yeah.
Culture is learned with and transmitted from generation to generation. Ma, would you agree with me that culture is a major barrier to effective communication between parents and children, talking from the African culture of respect and fear?
Yeah. Tanya, I completely agree with you. Culture plays a very important role, in communication between parents and children. Like you said, culture is a way of life. And for some of us, we were brought up with this culture all our lives. So this is how we do things. It's very difficult sometimes to change it. Like you said, the African culture of respect. That's a very good part of the African culture. A normal African child, you see that person sees an elderly person, will greet, courtesy, or at least show some respect to that child. That's a very good aspect of our culture that I think we as parents should continue to encourage. The aspect that has to do with fear, where a child cannot express his or herself because he's looking back. My daddy says, I can't talk. I can't talk. I can't see anything. When daddy or mommy says something, then it's final. That aspect is not a good aspect it's not a good aspect of our culture. We should go take the aspect from the Western culture that allows children to express themselves. Because if you are bringing up children that everything they do is with fear, then you are bringing up timid children. We don't want to bring up timid children. We want to bring up children that they can stand for what is right and they can express themselves. We also have this culture of, when I'm talking to you, don't look at me in my eye, And that's unfortunate. It's that's the African culture. That's what some of us grew up with. And even when I was in Nigeria, sometimes I'm talking to my son, he's looking at me in my eyes. Don't look at me in my eyes when I'm talking to you. That's rude. But he keeps doing it anyway. He doesn't mind me. But then I got to Canada, and I went through this. I was looking for a job and I had to go through some training, and I found out that when you are talking to a Canadian and you are not looking straight into the person's eye, that means you are timid, you are dishonest or something. We don't want to bring up timid children, whatever. We need to take the good parts of the Western culture, which allows children to be themselves, allow them to be bold, and also take the good ones from the African culture, in which children or everybody is able to respect one another. So yes, culture does. Yeah, it does.
I have a very impromptu question for you, but
okay.
What would you give as advice to parents that choose not to drop the bad and choose only to accept the good and the bad, and actually choose not to adapt to their surroundings?
I think culture is evolving.
Yes.
It's changing. Yeah. It's not static. Even though we were brought up with that life, we should be able to appreciate the good things when we say it. When we came into this country, like, we appreciate this fact that Canadians, their children are independent. By 16, they are working, even making some money. The first work I ever did was when I finished my university and I went for NYC.
Wow.
Because my parents loved me and they took their time, they took care of me and took care of all my needs. That's the African culture. We take care of our children to whatever extent. But here we see they start to work, earlier, and it kind of makes those children more, I don't know, Tanya, how can I say it? It makes them they are more conscious of, money. They are able to even use those jobs. Be more responsible. And even when they grow up and they get into the labor market, they can use those jobs as references. So yes, parents, I understand the African culture, respect and everything. That is in the house, nobody should talk. It's counterproductive. Yeah. It doesn't make the children bold, better. Yeah. If you make that child, if your child is so scared of you at home and everything, even when he gets outside and is with his peers, he feels that he has low self-esteem. Nobody wants to hear me. I don't have anything good to say. I'm not intelligent. Yeah. So please, parents, I think, yes, we're Africans. Let's take the good part of the African culture and the good part of the Western culture so that we can bring up awesome and balanced children.
Yeah, there's actually this story that my dad told me, because he grew up with the fear. If you go to someone's house, you can't eat.
Eat.
So there's a story where he went to, I think he was still in university, and he and his uncle went out, and he was really hungry, and his uncle was like, okay, are you hungry? And my dad said no.
For where?
When he got home, his sister, he was like, I'm so hungry. So sister asked him, why didn't you eat where you were coming from? He said, if I ate, mommy will not come and beat me. So he didn't, and then everyone was just laughing at him. And that is actually what happens nowadays. In fact, you go to someone's house, you cannot eat. You respect, you greet, you do this, you do that. You cannot talk. You sit down. When your elders are talking, you don't talk.
Don't talk,
because it's disrespectful. And there's other parts of culture that aren't the best, which is sad because some parents choose to only adapt and choose that part, they refuse to accept the good parts of their surroundings. So from a couple of interactions that I've had with my friends, I realized that most parents do not encourage new ideas and thoughts from children. They would rather impose their conventional thinking on them. They simply adopt a straight face and don't reflect their feelings while talking to their children. Furthermore, they shout on their children and resort to physical punishment. Constant nagging and scolding them makes them more irritable. Parents fail in seeing things from children's standpoint, which results in a wider generation gap. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, Tenny, it happens. Parents are not used to dishing out. African parents, we're not used to hugs, pecks, pats at the back. It's just, I provide for you, respect me. Your opinion is not valid. When I say this, I'm older than you, so when I say this, you do it.
When you start paying for rent, you can talk.
Thank you, Tenny. When you start paying for rent, you can talk. But like I said, this approach is counterproductive. Yes, we have the responsibility of bringing up these children. God gave us these children, and we have the responsibility of bringing them up. Let us remember that they are individuals. They are intelligent. Some more intelligent than even their parents. So they should have a say. Even if you are going to punish, because sometimes children need to be punished. If you are going to punish a child, sit that child down and explain, you did this. Is it right? No. Let him say if it's right or not. And if it's right, argue, why do you think it's right? And when you come to the conclusion that it's not right, then give a deserving, punishment. I'm not saying that, parents should not be able to punish or whatever their children, but let the child know what the child has done and why it's been punished. Also, let us give out smiles, hugs, kisses freely in our house. It's free of charge. It gives that child a sense of belonging. You see that, oh, my dad or my mom loves me, they care for me. And even one or two times when you have to scold them for something they've done wrong, they are not resentful. Because they know that, oh, daddy loves me, mommy loves me, they've been, they're always there for me, but I must have crossed the line here. So that's why this is happening to me. Some parents get home, maybe when the children peep out and see that, hey, daddy's car. Everybody was happy before, we're having fun, relaxing, watching TV. Daddy has come, everybody runs into the room and, try to adjust themselves and and daddy too won't help matters. When daddy comes in, he's screaming, who kept this one here? Who did this? It's counterproductive. It doesn't make the children happy, confident, or whatever in the house. Sometimes you see that children like that, they always want to be out of the house. When are we going there? When are we going there? Because the home environment is not conducive for them. So parents, I know sometimes we are tired. We've walked, since morning. We drove through traffic. When we get home, let's try to make our children happy. Let them be happy that we are back home. And sometimes we can also discuss with our children. Today at work it was hectic. I made a mistake, or something happened. So that they know that we're also human. You can even discuss the past mistakes you've made in the past when you were younger. Or when I was younger, this is what I did, and this is how I resolved it, so that your child doesn't make that same mistake again. And then your child also realizes that, oh, daddy or mommy, they are human too, they make mistakes. But when you make a mistake, it's a learning point for you to move on. Every father and mother, they came first in class. Let's tell our children this. I wasn't so good in maths. I'm just saying, if you were not so good in maths, I wasn't so good in maths, but these are the things that I did to get better. I wasn't so good in this, these are the things that I did to get better, so that your child knows that you are human too. And then don't just give them one standard or whatever. Come down to the level of your children. Be friends with them, and it's going to help.
It's that's actually very, very, very true, because parents don't realize that when they express their feelings and actually tell their children the good parts and the bad parts, they build a better connection with their child. Whereas when they just only say their good things that have happened to them and they don't say their failures, the child is like, oh, wow, my parents are perfect, what's wrong with me?
Just
Is there something that I'm doing wrong? And the child can't go to them because they're already scared. So the child just keeps to themselves, and they resort to telling their friends and don't tell their parents anything. And then the parents start wondering why the child isn't telling them, not realizing that it's actually their fault. And some parents actually choose not to change because they think that's what is right, and refuse to adapt, which actually does connect to the culture
thing.
So on another topic completely, I've also witnessed on many occasions where parents have pressurized their children into scoring excellent grades and ignore their interests and hobbies, which suppresses the freedom of their child. And this has, in many cases, made children more secretive and hesitant in sharing problems with their parents. What do you think about that, Mama?
Wow. Yeah, I see that happen a lot. Every parent wants their children to be, what do we say? Doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants. And sometimes these children have their hobbies, they have their talents, they have gifts. Some of these children love to sing, they love to play musical instruments, some love basketball, soccer, whatever. But parents will just insist on the education. I think we should calm down. Allow these children to also explore their interests. They could only want those interests on a part-time basis. They may just like to play soccer sometimes, like to play basketball sometimes, and still concentrate on their work. I know that in schools, for you to be able to play some games like basketball, soccer, you have to have good grades. If your grades are failing, they won't even allow you to, play those games. So I think it's important that whatever passion our children have, whatever interest they have, as far as it's positive, I think we should encourage them. If they want to go for games, let's make sure that we follow them, we attend some of those games and be their greatest cheerleaders. And if your child, some people now, because of this soccer thing, they are paying a lot of money to footballers. Every parent, sometimes they will say it's soccer, and the child is, I don't want to play soccer, I want to play, maybe I want to play piano, I want to, no, it's soccer. Let's not force our children to do what they don't want to do. These children are also individuals. They know what they want, they have their interests. Let's make sure that they pursue their interests. If it's some people say fine art, even though your child draws very well, is very good in art, no, you cannot do fine art, you have to do this. I think we should calm down and let our children pursue their interests. And I think if we allow them to pursue their interests, they grow up to be more balanced. At the end of the day, they may not, that person that likes to draw may decide, oh, I don't want to be an artist, I want to be an engineer. Let's allow them to develop their interest and know what they want to be, instead of forcing them to go in one direction. I think that's important.
There are many parents that if their child gets, even if it's 99%, it's not good enough, because they'll ask you, the child that got 100%, do they have two heads?
No.
They'll ask you, and they don't realize that by doing that, they actually make the child feel very bad about themselves, instead of them to encourage the child, okay, that's good, but I know you can do better. If there's something that you need help with, come to me, I will help you. If you need help studying, memorizing anything, I'll help you. But most parents, rather some parents, would simply be, what is wrong with you? When you were supposed to be doing this, you weren't doing this.
You were doing that.
What were you doing? You're watching TV, every time it's TV, and they don't realize that every time, from morning to night, it's work. And it might have just been one question that brought down that 1%. And some parents don't even care. It's none of their business. Their own is to get a report card 100% good. 99%, what is wrong with you? I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that one? And it's not good. And when parents also don't encourage their children's hobbies, they don't realize that it's actually not helping them with their education, because the child becomes very, very secretive and can't tell their parents anything. If the child does very good and gets like 6 gold medals now in track, the child can't tell their parents because they know they'll get angry. So the child keeps it to themselves and tells their friends. But then when the parents see that the child is doing good and the child is getting medals, instead of them to encourage the child, some parents will act like they don't see it. Instead, they'll be telling their friends, my child got 6 medals in track today, and the child doesn't even know that the parents are proud about it, because some parents choose not to express their feelings to their child, which really does not help, because the child doesn't feel as confident and happy in themselves as they should.
Yeah, I think.
Considering the heavy workload at the
Okay.
workplace and stress, parents find it so difficult to take time out for their children.
Oh,
They
okay.
spend very, very, very little time listening and communicating with children because of their long working hours. As a result, children avoid sharing their social life or other regular events with
With
their
their parents.
parents and feel neglected. Ma, how do you spend time with your children to break the insufficient communication barrier?
Various. Okay. I just spend time with my children. We try to do what the children like. And then later I tell them, see, I've done what you like. This time is mommy's time. You have to also, stay with me.
Yeah.
It was more difficult when we go to work, come back, we have to go for soccer practice. There was, yeah. But now that we are together 24/7, it's easier. We kind of have like a routine. We go jogging.
Oh.
Yeah, the children ride their bicycle and I run after them. It helps both ways. I'm spending time with my children. I'm also trying to burn some calories.
Calories.
Yeah. Also, we do a lot of board games. Lots of board games.
Okay.
We do Scrabble, Monopoly. We even play Ludo. And we spend a lot of time messing up. Sometimes when I'm winning, hey, I win. Okay, no winner. Let's just enjoy ourselves. And you find out that those times that you spend it with your children, they start things that they wouldn't have told you ordinarily. Everybody's in a relaxed.
Yeah.
They'll start telling you, hey, mommy, do you know that? Do you know that? They're like, are you serious? We also watch movies. We do
Okay.
movie nights because we don't watch TV every time. But Fridays, movie nights. The children we all have popcorn, blankets, basement, and we watch something. Most times it's what they like. Because if I want to watch what I like, no, we don't like. So start watching things like what do they call raising their own trolls and all this funny stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it's good because your children see that you have time for them. You can bond with them. For parents that have to go to work, even in this essential workers that have to go to work, even in this COVID-19 situation, even if it's just 1 hour, sometimes that you have to stay at home, you can spend time with your children doing whatever you guys like. Sometimes we cook. I try to learn baking during this period, even though I'm not perfect, but we make a lot of mess. Trying to make cake, mixing butter, sugar, but all those mess and everything, making the mess, baking the cake, cleaning it up is also bonding time between myself and the children. And at those times, communication flows freely. Everybody's happy. We also pray together. Whatever religion that you are in, it's good as a family to pray together, share our thoughts. Things when I'm upset, my children can actually read. Mama, what's happening?
Yeah.
Because the communication is there and we relate. So it's important. Let's spend time with these children.
Yeah.
And now we have a lot of time, so there's no excuse.
Like I know with my family, because we're a very, very competitive family. Doesn't even
Oh.
make sense how competitive we all are.
Wow.
If we're playing Ludo and let's say I'm playing with my dad and my dad is winning. No, Daddy, you're cheating. Daddy, no, I don't believe you. Daddy, Daddy,
What's
it's
happening
not.
here?
I don't understand.
Yeah.
But then when I'm winning and he says, I'm not like, no, I'm not cheating at all. Even I may be cheating, but he
Well,
doesn't
no.
need to know. Or if it's
Yeah.
on Friday and we order pizza and we just sit in the living room, we watch TV.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. It's like 30 minutes trying to choose a movie because I want to watch Netflix.
Oh, okay.
My mom wants to watch a Yoruba movie.
Wow.
And my dad wants to watch CNN. So we always have to kind of find a compromise. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
Daddy watches the news for like maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes,
Yoruba
and
movie.
then Yoruba movie, okay, we'll watch it tomorrow, and then we'll watch Netflix for the night.
Yeah.
And then depending on what time it is, we may actually go on to watch the Yoruba movie,
yeah,
depending on
the
if
time.
it's 8 p.m. and what we are doing the next day. Like most especially now in COVID-19, because nobody's going anywhere. Just
Yeah.
wake up, go to your computer, except for the essential workers.
Yeah.
Wake up, go to your computer, work, and you choose what. Not all the time, but some people get to choose when they start. Some
when
people
they
choose when they finish.
Yeah.
So if it's like a Wednesday night now, and you start eating dinner at like 8 p.m. Okay, maybe you watch one movie till like 9:30. It's like the food has not yet digested. You
Let's
wait
watch
from
another
9:30,
one.
you watch another one. So from that 8 p.m. to 9:30, it's maybe Netflix, and then the other hour 30 minutes maybe Yoruba movie, and then
CNN.
then my father would say CNN. And even before we switch from Netflix to Yoruba movie, he'll say, but can I? My mom and I will gang up against you. I'll say, nope, nope, we already decided.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's it. And it's very fun because it bonds. It's
bonding time.
Because we kind of debate about it, which is, if it's funny because we all laugh in the end about it because the movie is good. Sometimes my dad may fall asleep while watching the movie because he wants to watch CNN.
Yeah.
But at least we all know that we're all there, we're all watching it, we're together, we're all thinking of the same thing. And even when the movie is over, sometimes we start to argue about it, or we like see our own opinions, which is very nice because it bonds us and brings us
communication
together. Exactly. So I'm just wondering, has everyone liked our page, subscribed, and sent in your questions and thoughts? Because now we're going on a very, very, very quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll be taking your views and questions. So don't worry, we'll be right back. So, Ma, now that we're back from the break, welcome everyone. So, I have one question here,
Okay.
which says, what are positive attitudes that parent and children can adopt towards effective communication? So, I'm guessing that I will say from the perspective of a
Okay.
child, so what I want to see from parents, and you can say what you want to see from us as children.
Oh, what I want to see from you as children? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good. As children, I want you to be able to talk to your parents.
Okay.
I want my children to be able to talk to me, confide in me, their fears, expectations, problems, questions. Children don't have lots of questions. I expect my children to ask questions. Whatever is bothering them, ask me. I'm supposed to be your best friend.
Yeah.
Don't go out there asking your friend in school. Just ask your parents.
Yeah.
Respect the rules in the house. Every house has rules. Where there's no rule, there's no law.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So respect the house rules. Show respect to your parents as you should, and that's it. Just ask questions. Talk to me. What's bothering you? When I come, I say, "What's bothering you?" Nothing. Nothing. No. Talk to me. If you are having issues anyway, talk to me. That's what I expect. Open communication. Talk. I will listen. And I won't judge you.
Yeah.
Children think, oh, when I tell my mommy what I did, sometimes you do something wrong, and then you want to keep it to yourself because you feel that mom is going to punish you, going to spank you. Sometimes I have to promise. Oh yeah, tell when my children when I feel they want to say something and it's not coming out, I just said, okay, no, don't worry, whatever you say, nothing. I will take it like that, and yeah, just be open to me, communicate with me, respect.
Yeah, I guess I could say from the perspective of children, what we want to see from you as parents is maybe just be kind of more open and tell us when things are right and when things are wrong, because it helps us bond with you. And I guess you could also just be just be calm, talk, it's really all just talking, really, and that's it. And just make sure that we know that you love us. Show your love to us.
Hugs and kisses.
Yeah, exactly, in the best way that you can.
Yeah.
Even if it's just because even now with COVID, you just drive around and you just talk in the car, listen to music. It's still something, rather than, because as a teenager, most of the time I'm locked in my room, and I only come out, I do my schoolwork in my room. I only come out into the living room when I'm coming for either food, water, or I'm coming to ask my parents a question. Apart from that, I'm in my room 24/7 because I'm fine in my room.
Oh, you're not fine in your room.
But my dad actually, he recently made this thing where, okay, you wake up in the morning and come to the living room, because he realized that we weren't really talking. It was just him and my mom.
Yeah.
I am in my room the whole time. So now when I actually wake up, dining table, my dad's also there, my mom's there, so we all just work together.
Breakfast together.
Exactly.
That's important. When the family eats together, you are able to communicate.
Yeah, we all just sit there, we work. If I have a question or I have something to ask for my dad for help or anything, he's just there. I ask him. If my mom needs help with me getting her something, I'm right there. So it's very, very nice just to be able to communicate and talk
together.
So I have another question, which is, what is your advice for children who don't communicate with their parents?
Wow. I would say that your parents want the best for you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yes, they are your best friends. Communicate. I don't know what causes some of those problems, the reasons why they may not want to communicate. Maybe the parents are too harsh, they don't show emotions, or they use what you say. Like now, you come and confess, Daddy, I'm sorry, this is what I did. And Daddy says, okay, no problems. And next week, he's talking to you. The African parents, they will now say, that is how you did.
Yeah, exactly.
And children don't want that. So I wouldn't know what's affecting the communication, but I would say still try to communicate. Call your parents. Mom, Dad, I want to tell you something. I want to do this. However your day went, talk to them. Sometimes ask your mom to, especially you teenagers. You guys are grown. You see your mommy coming in frowning, or your dad coming in frowning, not looking as good as you normally. What happened, Mommy? Was there a problem at work? Are you okay? Like my son will say, Mommy, are you sad? Sometimes just because we are also human beings. Sometimes we may be down. Yeah. So as a child, you want to communicate with your parents. You want to make sure that they're in a nice mood. If they are not looking too good, you could ask them, Mom, what's wrong with you? still communicate with them. They are your best. They want the best for you.
Okay. So I have one last question so
Oh,
we can
okay.
get back onto today's topic. Thank you for everyone that sent in a question. We really appreciate it. So Ma, in what way or ways can parents guide children in making the right career choice? And this is from Mrs. Lara Adewuyi.
Oh, good.
I'm sorry if I said it wrong. I apologize.
Okay, how parents can guide their children in making the right career choice? That's a good one. We cannot impose career choices on our
On them,
children,
yeah.
but we can see. Sometimes we're able to see, look at the child and see what the child is good with. Some children are good with their hands, and you know that whatever they will do, they'll be able to do so well with their hands. Some people are really patient. You see their artwork in school, they take all the time to,
Yeah.
while some will just scribble whatever.
Me.
Same with my son, it was just whatever he's not interested in. But you see some people take out time to do these things, so we can see these things in our children, and then we can guide them there, to go this way. If a child says, oh, I want to be, and let me just use an example. A child says, I want to be like a doctor, and you know that that child hates the sight of blood. That child does not even send anybody. Maybe one is not feeling fine, he doesn't have time to care and pamper, doesn't have time. When they say someone does not have time, always in a hurry. I don't know, you don't necessarily have to say, oh, so and so you can't be a doctor, but you can just guide and say, what do you think? If he's stronger in other ways, maybe politics, likes to write, some of our children like to write, you may say, oh, look at this other field. What do you think it's better? And I know that in the schools, to tell you, I don't know what they do for you guys. It seems as if at a particular stage they kind of invite parents. I don't have a teenager yet. To look, to look at the area that your career, whatever you want to do. Sometimes
there are classes that you can choose to take.
Okay.
I think it's RIT, where they kind of just look at all the different job careers, and you get to like kind of see what they do in each one, and you kind of get to narrow it down. And, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I'm not interested in. So it just helps to really narrow it down. It's like, okay, you have a focus, not that you're just like, oh wait, I'm just lost.
Blind.
Yeah.
So as parents, we can also have further discussions with these children to narrow it down to a proper career choice. I know whatever the child wants to do. Some children want to become artists. It's their choice. I have, I teach a children class in church, and they say, I want to be a pizza delivery man, and I'm like, okay,
be an astronaut.
Yes, sometimes at that age, they just call whatever because they like it. But as they grow older, as their teachers guide them, and as parents, as we guide them, we're able to narrow it down to at least one or two choices, and then the child can eventually choose one. But then we don't impose anything on our children.
So the next question that I have is from Olushola Shoyemi, Mr. Olushola Shoyemi. So he wants us to tell us more about how to communicate things of God together as a family.
Wow, okay. I think the best way to do that is to have a time in the family where you meet together to study the Word of God and pray. And make it friendly, like depending on the ages of your children. If you're having very small children, you cannot carry maybe I don't want to mention any name, but if you're having very young children, you want to take something that is appropriate for their age and talk to them about it, have a discussion. This is that. Have a discussion, pray together, sing together, teach the children how to pray. And if your children are older too, sit down, have a time, because I find out that's what works for my family, because sometimes we are like, let's go and sleep now, let's go. So if you don't have a particular time to meet together to study the Word of God and pray as a family, you may be missing it some days. But then when your children know, we do this at, I'm just saying, say 8 p.m. every night, even your children will remind you, daddy, mommy, let's do it. And then take turns. It doesn't have to be daddy every time presiding on, saying to the whole family. Mommy could do it sometimes, or it could be your child or another child. When we had my sister's family stay with us for a while, and then her husband brought something really nice. We shared topics. We just say, well, you guys choose a topic. Today you are talking on holiness. Okay. Today I want to talk on honesty, and the children choose themselves.
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting, so they do a research, and that's interesting for them. Throughout the day they do a research about that topic, and when it comes to the time for the family prayer or the family meeting, then they are able to do it. So I think that helps.
Yeah, like there's this thing that my mom says. She constantly says, a family that prays together stays together.
Yes.
And it's very, very good, because ever since Corona even started, every night at 8 p.m. my dad holds this prayer on Facebook, where we just pray. We sing and we pray, just for God to heal the land and for him to just take control of everything that is going on. And in the morning, because it's not all the time, sometimes we forget, sometimes you have a bunch of emails from work that night, you don't get to do it in the morning. So usually most mornings when we wake up, first thing, we read the open heavens. So usually I read it, and then either my dad explains first and then my mom explains, after which we pray. Then we all go back to work. And sometimes when we don't, we always know that, okay, at night we still have the prayer, because it's every single night, no breaking, no stopping.
It makes sense.
And then just one last question so we can get onto the topic. Thank you for the questions again, you guys, we really appreciate it. How do you create a balance between culture and raising well-managed children in this age?
Wow. Yeah, because we have that's a good question. We have the culture of respect from Africa, where we are from, and then we have the Western culture, where the children are a little more they're a little more open. They are able to speak their mind. So how do we balance it? Respect. A child speaking his or her mind, or a child being, does not mean that child has to be disrespectful. A child having an opinion does not mean that the child has to be disrespectful. If you teach your child to be respectful, and you also teach your child to have a voice, it's two different things. Your child can always communicate to you in a respectful manner. Once that child has been trained to be respectful, I believe that child will be respectful. There's a difference between being respectful and being able to have your own opinion, or being able to say your mind, speak your mind in a topic. So we're having a discussion now. Okay, so family prayer is 7 o'clock. Fine now. But maybe my children think 7 is too early. Because 7 we're having our dinner, we are doing this. We sleep around 8:30, my children. So let's do it around 8. The fact that my children come to me and say, "Mommy, can we do this around 8?" And I'm like, I'll ask them why. Okay, the reason is because 7 is too early. We still have to watch small whatever TV we want to watch. We still have to eat and then do a little thing, so that by 8, when we are getting ready to go to bed, we'll do it. And they, okay, fine, I agree. That doesn't mean the child is not respectful. It means that the child also has an opinion, has a voice, and that's different from a child a child that is disrespectful will be disrespectful whether they have an opinion or not. Whether daddy says we are doing this 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock and there's nothing anybody can do about it. What if you finish saying it and the child just eyes you and moves away? The child is already disrespectful. But a child that is respectful will still come across with whatever opinion he or she has in a respectful manner. So I think we can still balance that up.
So I just like to say, sorry, the question is from Osas from South Africa. So now on to today's topic. On Sunday, May 10th, we all celebrated Mother's Day. And as a product of a dutiful mother, it would be my pleasure, Ma, to say something about mothers and also celebrate our beautiful mothers as well. So according to the Oxford Dictionary, a mother is a woman in relation to a child. But to me, a mother is so much more than that. A mother is any woman who provides care to the world. But just take a moment to realize how I did not say care to their children. This is simply because being a mother is more than caring for your own child. It basically means that the word mother is not a definition, but a feeling. A mother does not have to be someone who meets the earthly criteria of being a mother. She can be anyone who immensely and tremendously cares for those around her. So let me just quickly run through some of the several stressful duties of a mother, and just keep in mind as I go that these are only some, these are not all of them. Number 1, they are the chef.
Yes.
They cook 2 to 3 meals a day. Sometimes the child might not even like the meal, and the parent will cook another meal. That's already 4, and this is just for breakfast. This isn't even like snacks or
Lunch
lunch and dinner. Secondly, they're the housekeeper. A mother cleans all kinds of messes, from clothes left on the floor to cups left in the living room, spilled food, dirty diapers, vomit, the list goes on and on and on. Number three, they resolve conflicts. As children, we have conflicts with friends, siblings, and even our own parents. But mothers have great skills of listening, negotiating, compromise, and problem solving. Like, I know if I have a disagreement with my father, the first thing that I do, mommy, daddy said this, mommy, she'll be okay, you need to understand that. And I'm like, okay. And sometimes I just realize I just needed someone to tell, and I'm the one that actually misinterpreted what my father said. Number four, they're the teachers. Mothers will teach their children everything, and I mean everything. When they're cooking, they will not only teach their children how to cook, but sometimes even math or ELA or social studies. They teach their children about relationships and problem solving. Even more, they teach their children how to think. Mothers teach these things without even knowing they do it. Then there are all the things they teach on purpose, things like public speaking, reading, how to clean, how to do laundry, how to keep the house organized. And there are way more things that they teach, but for the sake of time. Number five, they are the counselor. Children come to their mothers when they fail a test and when their heart is broken. Mothers comfort and advise. They heal broken spirits and teach children how to shape a joyous future. Like I said, when I have a disagreement with my dad, I go to my mom, because that's just how it is. So Ma, on behalf of all the children in the world, I would like to say a huge thank you to you and all the mothers. You are all the first ones to wake up and the last ones to go to bed. You constantly put others before yourselves. Even when you have been battered and bruised emotionally by the world, you remain persistent. You rise better and even stronger. Mothers are indeed superheroes. I celebrate you all. Happy Mother's Day in areas.
Thank you.
So Ma, on behalf of STO Global Concept, I present this gift of love to you on behalf of us children.
Thank you so much, Tenny. Thank you so much, STO Global Concept.
So Ma, just really quickly, just one really quick question. What would you want us to say? Would you want to say something particularly few of your expectations from us as children?
Children.
Yeah.
Expectations from you as children. Be open-minded.
Okay.
Open communication. Talk to mommy. If you have issues, talk to your mom. If you have questions about anything, about reproductive health, about a friend, about a bully, anything at all, ask mommy. Mommy, like you said, we have the answers. And if we don't have these answers, we'll check. I just expect children to be open-minded. I don't want you to, I want to know that you rather talk to me as your mom. Like, my children rather talk to me than talk to somebody else outside. I'll feel really bad if I hear that you talk to a friend or somebody else instead of talking to me. I expect my children to be open-minded and communicate. If they have issues, problems, dreams, communicate your dreams with your parents. You know, we were children once, and sometimes some of us even had all those dreams and whatever, so you can communicate with me. And that's just what I want. Be God lovers, put God first in everything you do, and with all that, take things seriously. You would have brought up balanced leaders in society, good citizens of society.
I can say for us children, what we actually need to work on is to understand that parents, mothers know best, because experience is the best teacher. So when parents give us advice, I know I'm very, very guilty of this. Instead of arguing with them, but like, no. We should understand that they know what they're saying. They've been through it. Like, even if they might not tell you that they've been through it, but trust me, they have been through it, because it's a normal part of life. Everyone goes through it. So just a quick summary of today's discussions. Face-to-face communication is the best source of communication, because you can really understand the tone and the message a person is trying to pass across by the tone of their voice, facial expressions, etc. These help the recipients to interpret the message that the speaker is passing across. This is the best source of communication because it also allows interaction with both parties to remove any chance of misinterpretation or anyone thinking you said something sarcastically. Parents should also endeavor to create time to learn new things, particularly new technologies, as this would help develop an effective communication between them and the children. No knowledge is ever lost, and life is a continuous learning process because change is inevitable. On culture, parents who have migrated to a new country should be open-minded in adapting the culture of their new place of residence. Also understanding that their children are also undergoing a cultural reorientation, a cultural reset. However, the very good aspects of our culture, such as respect, should not be discarded because love must always, every single time, no matter what, overcome fear. Parents should also not leave the duties of training their children totally into the hands of teachers and friends and social media and whatnot. Rather, they should create time for bonding, communication, and fun with their children, most especially in this time of COVID-19, because you as parents, you don't really have that many excuses except for any of our essential workers. And I would just like to take this very quick moment to say thank you to all our essential workers. You guys are on the front line. You are battling with COVID-19, and we appreciate everything that you do. All your work has not gone unnoticed, so we just appreciate you and we just say thank you, and may the Lord continue to keep you safe and protect you. So mothers are also treasures and should be listened to, supported, and loved by all, because like I said, in everything, whether they've been battered, bruised, even if your child has disrespected them, they will always forgive you because they have a soft spot for you in their heart. They might not always tell you, but they do, because they love you with everything. They gave birth to you, and there's nothing that you could ever do that would make them resent you, because they love you and you're their child, and no matter what you do, you will still always be their child. Time is always not a friend, so this is where we are going to call it a day. So I would just like to say thank you to every single person that has joined us, even from Nigeria to South Africa to London to America, every single place, even to Canada. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for staying tuned to the platform. Thank you all for joining us on this very special edition of the platform. Till we come your way again, don't forget to turn on your post notification bell so you are notified every time we go live. Also, share our page and like our page. Make sure your children see this video even if they were not home right now. Stay safe, and remember, together and with love, we can make the world a better place. My name remains Teniola Oduntan, and with me in the studio is still Mrs. Temitope Oyekunle. Thank you for watching.